Good evening and welcome to the Special Commission on Reapportionment. Today is Thursday, December 22nd, 2011, and we are coming to you from the Rhode Island State House, room 313. At this time, I would ask our clerk to take the roll, please.
Co-Chairman Stephen Arucci.
Present.
Co-Chairman Michael J. McCaffrey.
Present.
Representative Grace Diaz.
Present.
Representative Donald Lally.
Present.
Representative William San Bento Jr. Representative Joseph Trillo.
Present.
Representative Daniel Reilly.
Present.
Senator Mary Ellen Goodwin. Senator Beatrice Lindsey.
Present.
Senator Wampa Shadow.
Present.
Senator David E. Bates.
Present.
Senator Francis T. Ma Jr.
Present.
Delia Rodriguez Mazwan.
Present.
Felix Apollonia.
Present.
Francis J. Flanagan. Matthew F. Gunnup.
Present.
Arthur V. Strother.
Present.
And Ray Rickman.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we have before us two meeting minutes, one from December 15th and one from December 19th. These were emailed to you and have been before you on the desk. I'll entertain a motion that we accept. Motion made by Senator McCaffrey, seconded by Representative Trillo, to accept the minutes as presented to us. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Minutes are accepted. This time, we're getting the pocket maps assigned, passed out to us, and I would ask Mr. Brace to give us what will probably be the final, should be the final update that we're getting from him. Mr. Brace.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. It is indeed fitting that today is the last day, and this is the final presentation. I wanted to start off by expressing my sincere appreciation to all of you for all of what you have put through and been through in terms of this redistricting, as well as the groupies behind us that are still here present. It's been a pleasure to do work up here in the state once again and to be here and be able to help out. So with that, I wanted to go through some of the things that we have for you today. I wanted to mention the fact that yesterday the Census Bureau released new population numbers. These are just numbers of their estimating program that generates a program or a number for each state. It's not more detailed than state by state, but it's an individual for each state. But it allows us to look at the apportionment question. And I'm here to report to you that we have taken those numbers, run them through the apportionment count. The official number last year showed that Rhode Island kept its second seat by a margin of about 50,000 people. The numbers that the Census Bureau released yesterday shows you still keep a second seat, but the margin is only 43,000 people. So it's getting closer. I've always said that I think that you're looking by the time of 2020 at having only a single congressional district, and everything seems to follow through on that front. I would estimate that by 2014, maybe 2015, when those December numbers come out, they come out every year, that we are likely to see Rhode Island go into the single district column. Now, that doesn't change anything for this decade. It's just an estimate. Census Bureau has been wrong before, we know that. And it doesn't take into account what may happen this decade. Indeed, we didn't know at the beginning of the last decade that we would all go through the recession and depression that we did in the latter part of the decade. In fact, the Census Bureau's estimates on projections in 2005 for the 2010 numbers were totally off because of that recession and depression. So we don't know, but we've got early clues and some ideas. So I just wanted to let you know of those facts in terms of the census information yesterday. But you'll keep 2 congressional districts until 2011 or 2021 when the new apportionment comes out at that point in time. What we're here to do today is review and provide you information of our new plans. These are for all 3 chambers, Congress, State Senate, and State House. These are listed in your reports as amended and fixed. The ones Monday were as amended. Today, we've added the word fixed because we've spent a lot of time on the pocket issue that we've talked about. So when you see reports from us, when you see maps, you need to look for those key words. If it just says as amended, it's Mondays. If it says as amended and fixed, it's Thursdays. I'll also have plenty of time for questions and answers and the approval of plans. As I said, you're being handed out 4 documents for each of the plans, 11 by 17 map with the existing districts in white outline. Then our A versus B reports that we call the geography comparison reports. Those are for the existing districts versus the proposed district, and the proposed districts versus cities and towns. So you can see how the districts are composed. And you also have before you population summary reports. Those are 3 pages each. The first page is the deviation report for the districts, and then the report 3A and 6A, which is the racial designation information, 3A being the total population, 6A being the voting age population. So that information is there. You have 4 of these documents for each of the 3 plans that we have before you, is what you should be having. And I believe we've got copies for the public here too, as soon as Ryan passes them out to the commission. As far as our website, I know you get all excited about hearing more stuff about our website. I'm not going to go through all the numbers or anything like that. And they're basically the same, but we're getting more hits. All of these plans will be placed on our website at the conclusion of our meeting. And I want you to note that once the commission approves a plan, then the plans will be renamed to be Commission approved State House plan, for example, or Commission approved State Senate and Congress. So that once again, you'll be able to see the distinction in any of the reports that you have and any of the graphics and the maps. So those are keywords again to take a look for. Again, www.redistricting.com. That operation will stay up. Probably through at least the whole legislative process, as we have the legislature with committee hearings and then the full floor debate. So we'll continue to have that information up on our website, and we'll continue to send out email notices to everyone that has signed up. So you'll hear about it through that too. So far, in conclusion, without today, you've sat through 27 hours and 37 minutes. For those that were here for every one of them, my condolences to you. For those that were able to skip some, you consider yourself lucky on that side. But we spent a lot of time, and we spent a lot of time here in this room and all around the state. We also heard a lot of testimony. As you can see, we're getting larger and larger crowds, except for tonight. I guess this is anticlimactic, or it's Christmas time for everybody's hitting the mall. But we've had 107 people testify through last Monday. So just to let you know where we were and where we've been on that side. We have worked hard for a number of different things. The commission and what we have been able to do, We've been able to help put Providence College together in one Senate and one House district. It used to be split. We've limited the number of splits in East Greenwich for the state Senate. That was one of the testimonies that you heard. We have kept ACI split in multiple state House districts, and now it will be in 2 state Senate districts. That's one of the changes we instituted with the pocket circumstance. So we've been listening to that community to talk about prison gerrymandering. We've improved keeping communities of area together in East Providence. Both the working class communities are no longer split from what we've been doing. We've kept the town hall in East Providence as opposed to coming across the river into a Providence-based district. We've eliminated numerous pockets to help town clerks and election officials once they get a hold of the plan here. We haven't eliminated everyone. Some of them are just going to have to be there, given the plans that have been drawn and devised. But we've tried to minimize those, and if possible, we tried to make them a little bit larger so that the town clerks and the election officials have a little bit larger precinct, so that they can at least service as many people as they possibly can. We put Smith Hill Association back into 2 districts rather than 3 in that testimony. And we've limited smaller influence areas in a number of towns so that we're trying to reflect town boundaries as much as possible. I will tell you that we haven't been able to satisfy everyone. We knew that going into this, and it is the hazard of the job. You can't please everyone. But we've tried to answer and respond to as many different people as we have. That's meant, as we've gone through the process, that things have changed, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, depending upon the circumstance. But we've always been mindful, and we were mindful in the last several days of dealing with the splits, of seeing where we might be able to institute some change given somebody that has come to testify before you. So we've tried our hardest to do that as much as possible. We have made changes because of negotiations in different areas, in Providence, in Woonsocket, and the East Bay. So those are changes to the districts in some of those instances. It's a little bit more than just little pockets, but it's because of the pockets that we've had to do some shifts. And statewide, we've dealt with pocket resolutions. In order to do pocket resolutions, we set up a command center. We thought we'd take a picture of that this morning. We took all of our computers together and put them all on the table so that we had the state house map on one set of 2 monitors, the state senate or state senate on another set of 2 monitors, and the congressional on the third. And it let us move between those 3 to see, all right, do we resolve the pocket in this plan, or do we resolve it in that plan? So it was kind of fun. So we thought we'd share that with you in showing what was really going on behind the scenes in our office the last couple of days. These are just some of the examples of pockets that are there. Some of them we've been able to resolve, and others we haven't. But we've tried to do as much as we can to eliminate as many of them as possible. If we were to zoom down into Providence, you'd see a bunch more from that side. But these are just some of the examples of some of the areas that have been subject to that. This is actually a map that shows what town clerks will be looking at if they go and take both of these plans and Congress and lay them on top of each other and look at what could be precinct configurations. Now, some of these are very large. The largest one is about 10,000 people. So that's too large for just one precinct. But they'll have the capability then of splitting that area into the number of precincts that they want to, given their circumstance. So we've tried to build as large of pieces as we could to help the town election officials in terms of those areas and what they're going to be faced with for their precincts. So what we have for you is a new congressional proposal F as amended and fixed. Again, note the title on those with today's date for you. Again, we created the congressional district with even population. The deviation is 1 person. So we had to search along the edge to see where we could move particular blocks. But we have increased the minority percentage in that first congressional district. So the percent of voting age that is non-white is now in the first congressional district up at 24%. So that's a big change from that side. So there's a much larger influence for the minority community in that first congressional district. There's been some changes along the border and trying to reflect. We responded to Mr. Rickman, and in terms of the park, we were able to place that up in the first congressional district, Roger Williams Park, and made some other changes along the way for dealing with pockets. We, again, if you recall, we moved Burrillville from the first congressional district to the second and placed it like it was 20 years ago when it was in the second congressional district. We moved 34,123 people from Congressional District 2 to Congressional District 1, and another 41,385 from CD 1 into CD 2. So overall total was 75,508 people. That amounts to only 7% of the population of the state of Rhode Island, 7.2%. So as a result, 92.8% of the people were not moved in the congressional districts on that regard. Again, the deviation overall is 1 person on that regard. As it relates to the state Senate, E as amended and fixed, we've made changes there in various areas, including in Providence area itself. We've got maps of those, and we'll have those maps up so that you'll be able to zoom in and look individually at districts. We will be producing individual district maps for all state Senate and state House districts, which we will be placing up on the web. Those will probably go up sometime over the Christmas holidays, depending upon how much sleep Ryan gets or doesn't get. He hasn't had a lot recently, so we're hoping to at least let him get a little bit of sleep. In terms of the state Senate summary, overall the deviation of the plan, we started off when we started here with a 25% deviation. We brought that down to 5.0146%. So the largest one and the smallest one are within about 2.5%, with an overall spread of 5%. From a minority representation side, we increased the percent minority for District 6 in the African American side. It was 22.22%, and we were able to move it up to 22.35. Not a lot of change, but we did respond to Mr. Rickman's suggestion and in fact moved the 6th district up to the Pawtucket border to pick up that African American population at the very top of the city of Providence. In terms of the Hispanic seats, there were 2 minority seats before that were more than 50% of the total population, and we still have 2 now. However, in each of those instances, they have been beefed up. We have increased the percent Hispanics in each of those districts. Majority minority, we had 6 seats before. These are 50% more, 50% or more majority non-white, and that has been increased to 7 seats with this new plan for the state Senate. As an overall standpoint, 83.44% of the people in this state will be voting in the same state Senate district as they are today. Now, that varies in different state Senate districts, obviously, and that's what those A versus B reports or the geography comparison reports are there for you, so that you can look at each individual district in terms of its percent that is the same. From the standpoint of the State House proposal, Proposal D as amended and fixed, there were changes throughout the state in that one also, including in Providence in that regard, as we tried to answer some of the questions that we identified to you before. Again, these maps will be more detailed for you and available on the web so that you can zoom into any particular district that is of interest. Overall, we started off with a 25.11% deviation before we started when we got the census data, and we've been able to bring that down to 4.9807%. So again, within that 5% range we were shooting for in that regard. As far as minority representation, again, it was not possible to create an African American majority African American seat. We knew that going in. The percentages that we have been increased where we could, but there's not enough minority or African American population to create a majority African American seat. As far as Hispanic seats, there were 6 majority before we started. There's still 6, but again, in each instance, there has been increases in the percentages within each of those districts. And for majority minority seats, there were 11 before and there are 11 now, but most of those have been increased also. Plus, we have put into place several additional influence districts. They're not majority, but they're much higher than they were before, to try to give as much sway as possible in terms of minority representation. Overall, 89% of the people of the state will be in the same state house district, slightly more than the state senate. But basically, there's not a whole bunch of change, except when you look at individual districts, and you'll see different percentages all over the place. With that, that is my presentation for you tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Brace? Thank you, Mr. Brace. At this time, we'll be asking for public testimony. There was a sign-up sheet. Hillary Davis, ACLU.
Good evening. Thank you very much for indulging me time and time again. My comments are related to the most recent map, which was made available to the public, which is D as amended, and I'm sure Mr. Brace can tell me if my comments have changed. You have a letter, which is in front of you, from Peter Wagner of the Prison Policy Initiative, and his concerns and my concerns regarding the ACI are the same. When I was here on Monday, I expressed our optimism about the way that the prison gerrymandering situation was being dealt with this time around. And we were happy to see that the prison was being split into 3 districts. They were relatively equal, and it seemed like it was really a progressive way to deal with the situation. Unfortunately, as of the most recent maps, we've actually seen that it looks as though we're taking a regressive stance on the prison at this time. The prison has been moved back into 2 districts instead of the original 3, and instead of being evenly split between the 2, one of those 2 districts has 1,000 more prisoners than the other. And we're very disappointed to see this. Instead of really taking a positive stance on the prison-based gerrymandering issue, Rhode Island continues to have the worst prison-based gerrymandering in the country. Mr. Wagner's testimony goes into the numbers for you so that you can see them, but I did want to express our frustration with that at this point in time. In terms of prison-based gerrymandering, Plan D, the original Plan D, is still the most effective way to deal with this situation. We hope that the Commission will take that into account. And I did want to make one last plug for the data that is still necessary. When we talk about these minority districts, a couple of them, as I've mentioned before, are very, very close, and this voting block data is going to be necessary for the General Assembly to make their decisions in the upcoming months. And so I'd like to have some kind of understanding as to when that data will be released, if at all, and also to ask that the website does stay up all the way through the General Assembly session so that the public continues to have the opportunity to examine this data as we have had in recent months. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Davis? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Win Hames? Oh, he had to leave. Is there anyone else who wished to testify? No? Chairman McCaffrey?
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. At this time, I'd move that the Commission recommend to the General Assembly Congressional Plan F as amended fixed, House Plan D as amended fixed, and Senate Proposal E as amended fixed.
Mr. Chairman?
There's a motion. Let me just take a second, and then we'll do are there only questions? Is there?
I would just ask that they split the three votes.
You want to vote the three
I would
separately?
ask the same.
That's
no
not a problem.
But I'll start with Congressional Plan F as amended fixed.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Machado. All those, let's do a roll call on Congressional F as amended fixed. All those in favor signify by saying aye when your name's called.
Co-Chairman Stephen R. Ucci.
Aye.
Co-Chair Michael J. McCaffrey.
Aye.
Representative Grace Diaz.
Aye.
Representative Donald L. Lally. Representative William San Bento Jr. Representative Joseph A. Trillo.
Nay.
Representative Daniel P. Reilly.
Nay.
Senator Mary Ellen Goodwin. Senator Beatrice Lindsey.
Aye.
Senator Wampa Shadow.
Aye.
Senator David E. Bates.
No.
Senator Francis T. Ma Jr.
No.
Delia Rodriguez Mazwan.
Aye.
Felix Apollonia.
Aye.
Francis J. Flanagan. Matthew F. Gunnup.
Aye.
Arthur V. Strother.
Aye.
And Ray Rickman.
Aye.
We have 12 in favor and 4 against.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Chairman McCaffrey, do you have a motion on?
I would move that the Commission adopt Rhode Island House Proposal D as amended fixed, Mr. Co-Chair.
Motion made by Senator McCaffrey, seconded by Representative Diaz. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? We can recall this a unanimous vote, Mr. Clerk. Yes. Thank you.
At this time, Mr. Chairman, I'd move that the Commission adopt Rhode Island Senate Proposal E as amended fixed.
Senator McCaffrey moves Rhode Island Senate Proposal E amended as fixed, seconded by Senator Bates. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There is are there any other opposed? Should we do a roll call vote? We'll do a roll call vote.
Co-Chairman Stephen R. Ucci.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Michael J. McCaffrey.
Aye.
Representative Grace Diaz.
Aye.
Representative Donald L. Lally.
Nay.
Representative William San Bento Jr. Representative Joseph A. Trillo.
Aye.
Representative Daniel P. Reilly.
Aye.
Senator Beatrice Lindsey.
Aye.
Senator Wampa Shadow.
Aye.
Senator David E. Bates.
Aye.
Senator Francis T. Ma Jr.
Aye.
Delia Rodriguez Mazwan.
Aye.
Felix Apollonia.
Aye.
Francis J. Flanagan. Matthew F. Gunnup.
Aye.
Arthur V. Strother.
Aye.
Ray Rickman.
Aye.
15 in favor and 1 against.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The proposals that we just voted on and passed will be assembled into a report. As you know, we are a study commission, and we will be submitting our report to the General Assembly. At this time, I think as we sit here as a commission of elected officials from the legislature as well as public members, Delia Rodriguez Mazwan, Felix Apollonia, Francis Flanagan, Matthew Gunnup, Arthur Struther and Ray Rickman were our public members. They put in countless numbers of hours sitting here, being productive members of the commission. We can't thank you enough for your service to us. I just wanted to publicly, on behalf of myself and Senator McCaffrey, thank you for your service to the commission. I also wanted to recognize our attorneys, Joe Solomon, David Igliozzi, our clerk, Anthony Palantonio, obviously to thank Ryan Taylor and Kim Brace for all of their help, and the folks from Capitol Television who have been with us through this. And a special thanks goes to the cities and towns who have arranged, and CCRI for allowing us to take our hearings on the road around the state over the 24 or so meetings that we've had. Mr. Brace, do you have anything else before we adjourn? With that, I want to thank you all again, and at this time, I will, Senator McCaffrey moves to adjourn, seconded by Representative Trillo. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.